Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second live. Oh, I should get my mic. This is why you don't do things live. You can't cut that out. But hello, everyone. Welcome to our second live stream on Big Spring Quail. Very happy to see everyone that's here. I hope you're all staying warm because it's very cold. If it feels like 4 degrees in southern Kentucky, then I imagine it's a lot colder in places like where Mr. Jacob is. I'm sure it's in the negatives there. I'm sure, I'm sure the Cluckety Homestead, you're pretty cold up there in Ohio too. I'm about as far north as I need to be right now. But I hope everyone's birds are staying thawed and warm and living through it. Uh, but I have some notes to go through this week because I have a couple things to tell you guys about. So I guess I will start with that, or just working my way through the notes. The first thing I'm going to announce on here is that Big Spring Quail will have progressive pied quail available this spring for shipping. And progressive pied has kind of inspired me to try doing some live birds. So I'm also going to be offering some shipping on live birds this year. I don't know how much, but I'm definitely going to be trying it out. Um, and then we will also continue to do our local uh, chicks and live birds like last year. Hopefully, I'll have more of those because I know some of our local people didn't get their chance at chicks, but I'll try and make that happen this year. Um, so, and I'll take this time to go ahead and ask everyone how the cold is doing. How much snow are you guys at, and how are your animals, and how many times have you had to go thaw waterers or put new water in waterers today? Um, and while you guys are answering that question, I will, I guess, continue through my notes. Um, for me, I'll talk about my day. I'm lucky enough that my quail house stays fairly warm. Uh, it I've never seen it below freezing in the quail house, which is very nice. I went in there today and it was definitely cold, but all the waterers were open. It was noticeably warmer inside than out. So that is a blessing to not have to thaw out iced over water or give a couple hundred birds water every few hours. It's definitely nice to have a warm quail barn with no heat. I don't use any heat except the heat that the birds make. Um, let's see. Uh, Jacob says he had to thaw his water line in his coop today. The brooder didn't have water for a little bit, so I said screw it and cranked the heater up today. I don't blame you. I think I saw your video on Facebook and you said -15. That's too cold for me. The Cluckety Homestead said no new snow here, but all waterers are frozen in their garage. I've put new temporary ones in, but the quail dumped everything, so I ran a small heater to thaw tonight, but going back to negatives again tomorrow. Wow. Yeah, that is cold. I mean, super. I think Monday is going to be super cold for us, and that's a high of like 16 degrees and a low of I think 9, and that's super cold for us. Which I think that's super cold for anyone except maybe Alaskans. But and that yeah. So we had Jacob, and I think he said northeastern Wisconsin, and then we had the Cluckety Homestead in northern Ohio. So they're definitely further north than me. And then we have Teo6517 said, 5 times, changed their water 5 times today, gathering eggs and chopping ice. Yep. Sounds like not a ton of fun. The only poultry we have outside is our chickens, and they have a heated waterer, luckily, and that stayed open for the most part today. I don't know about their eggs, but wow. Cluckety Homestead said it was -15 last night and around 8 today. Yeah, that's too cold. Too cold. You need heated jacket and I mean, I just wouldn't go outside probably actually. I'd put the quail in the living room and call it a day. Let's see. Spindle Dreams says Wyoming here, and my birds are outside. Water twice a day. Make sure they have food and fluffy bedding to snuggle in. Tonight they are forecasting a low of -5. That is very cold, but that also shows you how resilient a quail can be and how well they can do in conditions because it's been a couple years, but I think 2 years ago now, I had quail outside in a -10-degree wind chill, and I only lost one bird. And I was having to replace their water or open their water slash give them new water 3 times a day. So that was a lot of fun, but just shows that they can keep living. Jacob says currently -5 right now and dropping. Yeah. I'll look for you guys here, but I'm very certain that it's nowhere near that cold here. Yeah. 18 degrees here. Feels like 6. So yeah, I think Jacob's got me beat for the time being. But we've got a few inches of snow, which is a ton of snow for us. Any snow is a lot of snow. Here at least. Cluckety Homestead said we're supposed to get 14 inches of snow Sunday. Your governor declared Ohio under a state of emergency for weather coming up. Yeah, 14 inches of snow would be the end of the world here. I mean, yesterday at the I don't know what you guys call it, farm service store, co-op, whatever you guys call it. Our version of that, we went to just fill up a propane tank, just one little propane tank for the grill, and we probably sat in a line for about 30 minutes. Just people so concerned about freezing temps and not having power. It's really crazy in the South when you get a little winter weather. Oh, I will take this time to say, wearing a nice sweatshirt that the Cluckety Homestead made me. Says Big Spring Quail right there, and then has the big logo on the back. Thank you guys very much for that. Very cool. Um, then the next thing is, yeah, so since we're having so much cold weather everywhere basically right now, I think there was someone who contacted me from Arizona and they said their temps were fine, but they knew it was cold everywhere, so go ahead and hold their order. And I'm holding all orders right now for obvious reasons. And honestly, I don't think I'll be shipping again until the around the 1st of February because we're not supposed to get above freezing until that time. So I don't want to risk anyone's orders and have low hatch rates or anything like that. So we're definitely going to be holding off until warmer weather hits, unless someone wants to request otherwise and have their order shipped before then. Then you're assuming the risk on that one. Uh, Cluckety Homestead said, luckily we have places who exchange or fill propane almost every gas station and convenience store. Yeah. See a lot of here, I think just about every gas station will exchange your propane tanks, but like these people had propane tanks as tall as me in the back of their trucks that they wanted filled, and that's just insane to me. But they also said, "Love the hoodie, looks great." Thank you. I love the hoodie too. Very soft and very quality. Got my logo on it. Now I can always be repping Big Spring Quail. Let's see. So just a little talking point I have for this live stream. I want to ask everyone what their goals for the spring are and how you guys are going to achieve that, and if there's anything I can do to help the people that support me. Uh, so yeah, what are you guys' goals for the spring? What are you going to do to achieve that? And yeah, I want to hear about that from you guys. Spindle Dreams says, sadly, only about an inch of snow here. Yeah, to a point, I think I'd be okay with an inch. Definitely more snow's fun, but I think here, I would guess we only have 3 or 4 inches, so not a ton of snow. Excuse me. Uh, Cluckety Homestead said, "Can you explain Progressive Pied? Where did it originate? I feel like I've only heard about them the past few months, or has this been a long time thing and I just didn't realize?" So that's a very good question. Uh, Basically, Progressive Pied is just, I mean, great. I'm not the best person to talk to about quail genetics, I'll say. Um, it's basically like every other quail genetic, except I think, well, I guess, yeah, every quail genetic except things like ginger, which technically did originate in another country, but or it came in a collection from another country, but ginger wasn't present in the collection until Michael Rose and Rebecca Lynch kind of honed in on it. But Progressive Pied, like most of the genetics we end up getting, is from Europe, the Europe area. Couldn't tell you exactly how it was made or anything like that, just that it's from Europe and it's quite common in Europe. And I mean, even 2 years ago, when I was seeing pictures of it in like some genetics groups, it would be, people in Britain and places like that that had these birds and had pictures of them. Uh, and yeah, you've probably only heard about it in the past few months because people in the US are just now ready to release their lines and have the birds available. Um, I can't give out any names, but I do know how they got here. They were illegally imported here. The person who did the importing did not realize it was illegal, and they entrusted some of the eggs to a farm in the U.S., MPIP farm, so that farm could then breed them and reproduce and sell them, I suppose. Yeah, sell them. And, other people have uh, gotten a hold of the genetic, whether the original breeder shared the genetic with them, or I know other people just went ahead and imported the genetic themselves. Uh, I couldn't tell you if it was legal or not, how they did it, but they got it in. And basically, it's been the breeder has been that got the Progressive Pied from the, I guess you could call it smuggler, but they're not really a smuggler. They've been working on them for maybe a year and a half to 2 years now and are ready to release them this spring. So everyone else that has them is releasing them as well. That's, I think, about the extent to the information that I have on them. But yeah. Jacob's goal for spring is currently to not freeze to death. And I have to say, that's an amazing goal. I really hope you don't freeze to death. And the Cluckety Homestead wants to know what country did they originate from? and I honestly could not tell you. Um, there's so many things over there always happening with Coturnix quail. Like recently, I was learning about lavender a little bit, and I think the only place it really exists right now is a laboratory in Belgium. It's just over there, they're a lot, here we're probably more focused on things like cattle and a lot of chickens and larger fowl and stuff like that. But over in Europe, in that area, they do a lot of stuff with Coturnix quail. And so they end up finding all the cool genetics and colors before we do. But that's about, yeah, just one of those things where I don't specifically know, but I'm very sure there are people who know. I just couldn't tell you. And goals. Ava's expanding to different species of quail. She ordered Californias and now wants mountains. So goal, find mountain and build them new cages. That's a good goal. I'm kind of locked in on the Coturnix quail. For me, I don't want any other quail personally. The only thing I think I'd consider down the road would be getting bob whites. Bob whites are a lot of fun to me, uh, and you can do a lot of things with them, and you can sell them very easily to people like hunters, and you can even get contracts. There's even farms around here, and you can get contracts to raise the bob whites that they need for hunters on their property and that kind of stuff. So that would be maybe a down the road goal. But the thing with bob whites is that you have to have special permits for them from Fish and Wildlife because they are a native species here in Kentucky. So yeah, I mean, it's basically the same as if I went out and caught a white-tailed deer and started racing it. You just got to have permits and everything that says you're allowed to do this. I think as well as MPIP, which I already am. But so gosh, I've got my list here and it's just written in my shorthand that I can't read. Uh, so let me just go ahead and I don't know. Maybe it'll be end up being a short live stream today. I don't know, but okay. We have comments. Um, the Cluckety Homestead says yes. The permit is $40 every 3 months here. We have the permit and have Northern Bob Whites, but other than them just being there, not sure why she wants them. To each their own. Some people like dogs, some people like cats, some people like quail, some people like Legos. I don't know. Hobbies are hobbies, and some things are just fun to look at, I guess. And they don't make bad sounds. You gotta love hearing them sometimes. Spindle Dreams said, "This is my first year with Quail, so goals this spring and summer are to try try on different colors and lines to see what I may want to do or what I'm sorry, what I may want to concentrate on." Yeah, that's a very good goal, and that's something that took me 2 years to figure out what colors I really wanted to concentrate on. Because I got quail and I started with Tibetan and Falb Fee. Then I was like, no, I don't like these. I want Pharaoh. And then I was like, no, I don't want like these. I want Tibetan tuxedo. And it was just kind of round and round in circles. And then I really wanted celadons. And then I really wanted gingers. And then it just kept going. And now I've got probably 4 or 5 really favorite birds that I work on and raise. And yeah, basically once I realized that, oh, I can just have them all. That was what did it for me. Jacob says one of the goals at the moment is to get my license for selling quail products as pet food. It's a really good goal. That's something that it's just one of those things I don't quite understand because I looked into pet food not long ago and I kind of decided it wasn't for me at the time. Uh, just because here in Kentucky, most permits you need are just about paying the federal or paying the Kentucky government. Like if I want a permit to sell eggs in a retail store, it's not that they think my eggs are dirty or carry diseases. They're just concerned, they just want money. So basically, for every, I think, 15 dozen eggs I sell, I owe X amount of dollars to the Kentucky government. And that's doesn't make sense to me. I feel like if it was really worth having the permit, you'd inspect my facilities or how I process eggs or something, but nope. And as long as I sell under 60 dozen eating eggs a week, I don't even have to have the permit. So, uh, and then yeah, the pet food license here was basically the same thing. Spindle Dreams uh, said, "Grin, I will have blues and sell it on from you when it warms up." Hey, that's two of my favorite things. I really love my blues. I'm working on those right now. And I've created ginger blues, and some of them I really like, some of them are all right. But I think ginger blue will really be cool to look at least. I'm planning to really expand my blue line this year so I can move those orders out faster. But yeah, I hope you like those birds because they are some of my favorites. Cluckety Homestead said, "Can you make a video at some point of your quail setup?" Yep, that is definitely on my list to do a quail tour. Do you want to see just the quail house and where the quail live, or do you want to see incubators and brooders and everything else? Because that's I didn't even because until right now I didn't even consider that people might want to see where my incubators are and where my brooders are because they're not in the same place as where my quail are. Um, Jacob said, "Yep, that's all it is in Wisconsin. They just want you to pay." Yeah, and that's where I'm like, well, I'm just gonna stay so small that you can't ever get my money. But in Kentucky, it's actually technically that the second you have one single dozen in a retail store, you're supposed to get your egg permit. But I kind of maneuver around that, so to speak. The Cluckety Homestead says, "Honestly, I'm good with just adult setup, but others might want to see it all." Yeah, I can definitely do it all. I can tell you the incubators, there's one incubator that lives in my room, and there's one incubator that lives in our storage room. And the incubator that lives in the storage room is the one that's on all the time, so I don't have to hear it in my room constantly. And then I keep the hatcher in my room so that I know when the chicks are hatching, and it's only on every once a week, maybe every other week. Uh, uh, Egg permits for you are crazy. Ohio just got rid of permits if you have under 500 birds. Yeah, that's a good way to do it, honestly. Uh, and I mean, I get to a point that Kentucky wants their taxes from, like, uh, I don't even know what brands eggs are because I don't buy eggs, but from a big egg farm with, we'll say, 10,000 chickens, yeah, I can understand they want some taxes from them. But I think the tax is only like 2 cents. So at that point, I just am like, why are you even charging? But that's a great way to do it, Ohio. Uh, yeah, crazy. Jacob said, you can do quite a bit in Wisconsin, staying under 150 laying birds total. That's out the door for me. Yeah, yeah, Kentucky, and I mean, I definitely understand why Kentucky has to charge a little more, or has to, I guess, it would be charge a little more, wants to or has to do taxes like that, because like MPIP for me is 100% free. I'm not charged a single dime, but then I know people in other states are charged like $50 a bird for MPIP testing, and that's insane. So I guess I'd rather pay a little bit of money if I sell some eating eggs than a whole lot of money if I just want to ship eggs across state lines. But yeah, it's always crazy. Uh, so, ooh, here's a good one. Uh, if I keep doing live streams, which I plan to keep doing live streams, who are some guests you would like to see, or what are some topics you would like me to cover? Because I've considered getting guests on my live stream. It's just some people aren't wild about being on live stream, so I haven't asked anyone yet, but I'd definitely love to get guests. The Clickety Homestead said our MPIP cost is based on quantity of birds, and they limit the amount of people in the state who can have it. Hmm, that's interesting. Uh, yeah, here, uh, they there's a swab and a blood test, and the blood test is bird flu. I don't exactly remember what the swab is, but it's just like a little mouth swab inside their cheek. And they do the mouth swab twice a year and the blood test once a year. And for the mouth swab, they only do 30 mature birds, and they define mature as any bird over 4 months old. And that's just for poultry in general. So, like a chicken, they're just now starting to lay, but a quail, you're like, wow, that's kind of an old bird, which is, weird. But that's why I like quail, because at 8 weeks, 8 weeks they're laying eggs and they're mature in my head. But yeah, norm for me, it's always just been 30 of each because I haven't had a ton of mature birds. Because I think when my tester came last week, I had like 150, 200 layers ready to go, but I think only like 75 of them were over 4 months old. So we don't even have to test that many. Uh, Swab is bird flu, blood is PT. Good to know. I should probably know this as a person who ships over state lines, but I just know that I like quail. And that's what matters, right? Uh, and I'll talk a little about, come on, the West, or, oh, sorry, the Cluckety Homestead says, mine get that, but I had to be on a wait list and someone to drop off the Ohio MPIP list before we could get on the schedule and get accepted. They test most of ours. I think they did 50 of ours. Yeah. That's crazy that they limit your number. And I mean, maybe they limit the number here and there's just not a bunch of people, because I mean, there's state testers here and there's not a lot of them. They cover just like a small, or not a small, they cover a big area, and it's like a straight up and down line. I don't think there's any more than 10 testers in the whole state. Maybe, maybe there's around 10 or more. There's not a lot though. There's not a ton. And like my tester says he only has about 20 to 25 MPIP participants at a time. So I think it might just be a state to state thing. Uh, it's okay. I'm in our county PT tester. That's how I know it. Oh, I'm our county PT tester. That's how I know it. Good to know. Yeah, yeah, that's another thing that a lot of people, uh, there's, I think, Oklahoma maybe, or maybe Oklahoma and Texas, they have to. I mean, it's easier for them to get certified to test their own birds than for them to have someone come out and test them. Which, I mean, I guess Texas is a huge state, and Oklahoma, there's a lot of very rural spots. So it's really just a state to state thing. But I want to talk a little bit about the Western Kentucky Poultry Show that's coming up on Saturday, February 21st. I will be there. I will be shadowing the judge for the quail portion of the show, of the judging, I suppose. And I will be there. Rebecca Lynch from Thieving Otter Farm will be there. Ava Burrows from the Clickety Homestead will be there. Uh, I think Aaron Gidros from Gidros Family Farm might come up. Leah Kulis from Southern Biophiliac is going to try and come up. And from what I've heard, there's going to be even more people to that are there to meet and talk about quail with. So that'll be a fun time. But yeah, if you're watching and you can make the trip to the Western Kentucky Poultry Show on February 21st, I definitely suggest doing it. Last time it was a lot of fun, and you get to sit around and talk quail all day. I'll be there if you want to meet me. Autographs are $15. Just kidding. Uh, but yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. I'll be going up February 20th, the day before, to get all the birds set up. And if you're showing, I recommend you doing that because it is way easier to figure out everything the day before the show than to show up on show day and try and figure all that out. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and you should definitely come. And I think, if we have enough people there, I'm sure we could do lunch or something like that. Or probably not lunch because you have to stay there while they judge, but we'll figure something out, make it worth your while. Jacob says February 21st, you say? Yep, Saturday, February 21st. If anyone needs any info, feel free to email me, message me on Facebook, whatever. I can get you, or if you want a show, even, I can get you hooked up with the show coordinator in the entry forms. Um, I'm I don't know. I'm decently involved through the ACBA since it's in my home state, and I'm one of few members in Kentucky actually in the ACBA. So, Cluckety Homestead said, I think some guests on live would be good. Maybe consider doing a live uh, from the show on February 21st with everyone from the ACBA. Also, another way to advertise the ACBA. That's a very good idea. Yeah, I can definitely do that. It's a great idea. It'll just probably have to be after the show because during the show, you have to, uh, last time at least, and I mean, this is another APA show, you have to be fairly, you don't have to be quiet, but you can't be, sorry, loud and disruptive during the judging. You kind of have to sit around and be there during the judging, but you can't be, hollering across the room or making a big loud noise on live stream. And if I set the camera up on a table and just sat up there, because I think the quail normally get judged just about dead last. So yeah, we could definitely make that happen. Excuse me. Uh, but that's kind of all the talking points I had for today. We have a little bit of a smaller crowd than I was hoping for, but I appreciate each and every one of you that showed up. I'll give everyone a final chance if they have any questions or anything like that. And what I'll do for you guys, since you made it into the live stream, since there's very few of you, I will set you guys up with a coupon code on the website. And sorry, I'm trying to pull up my website uh, so that I can share a link with you guys. But I'll pull up a coupon code, or I'll create a coupon code for you guys that you can use on my site for 25% off for showing up to this live stream. It'll be good for the next 12 hours. So anyone that tries to watch it next week, you snooze, you lose. You got to be on the live. Uh, but I'll make that coupon code, and we have a couple more. Uh, John Collins wants to know what is involved in judging. So, I'm an expert by no means, but I can tell you basically my experience from the one show that I participated in and attended. Basically, uh, we'll say by 9 o'clock, everyone has to be, I think they call it cooped or in coop or whatever. Basically means your birds have to be in their cage. You cannot touch them. Uh, Show rules. Yeah, you can't touch your bird. It has to be in its cage, and the judge may ask, or the judge can actually he can grab your bird, so he'll never ask you to grab your own bird. That for junior showmanship, if you are 18 or under, or have a kiddo 18 or under that's going to show, they will be asked to handle their own bird at the end of the show for the junior showmanship award. But with judging, you have to have your birds in cage by a certain time. We'll say 9 o'clock. Can't touch them. You can't. They'll generally close off a section when the judge is in it. So I was at a fairly small one, but when the judge was in a row of cages, they'd close it off at each end, so only the judge and his shadows with his papers and that kind of thing could be in there. And so you're not allowed to talk to the judge at all until after the show. And yeah, basically the judge walks around and does his thing. He'll start wherever. We'll say he starts with geese, then goes to turkeys, then uh, bantam chickens, large fowl. He just goes through everything at his own pace, really. Uh, you don't have to be silent. You don't have to whisper. You just can't be loud and disruptive. You can hang out, chat with friends, and all that. But yeah, the judge just kind of walks around, has his clipboard, has a shadow or two most of the time, does his things, picks up the birds, looks at the birds, places them. Uh, and yeah, generally he'll go through everything, kind of tell his shadows, like, hey, say, put by number 4 that it was broad chested or whatever. And then at the end, he'll go back, he'll look over everything. If he needs to go back to a cage, he'll go back to it and look again. But then he's basically done. He'll write all his scorings down, announce the winners, and everything else. But it's not too complicated. The judge obviously has the most complicated job at that point. But if you're just showing, your only job at that point is to uh, sit down and hold on. Because I mean, I think for us it took about 3 or 4 hours for him to judge everything. So, and it's one judge with probably a couple hundred birds. So, uh, Jacob says Aaron gets to clean poop trays. Yes, he does. Me, Aaron, and Jacob agreed that the last one on the live stream had to clean poop trays. So I guess it's Aaron. Brianna Guess is in the house. Sorry I'm late. Hey, Mason, I'll try to catch the next one. No worries. Thanks for showing up. But yeah, I guess give everyone one final chance to get any questions in, and I'll go ahead and drop a good discount code in the comments uh, for 25% off. It'll be valid for the next 12 hours for you guys that are on the stream. And like I said before, all of you, uh, all of you guys that are watching this at a later date, got to catch the live to get the good stuff. Uh, and you know what? What's the 24th? Okay. So in the comment section is your coupon code, all caps BSQROX24. That will be your discount code for our website. Before you try and use it, give me 10 minutes after this to actually set it up. But yeah, it'll be good for, we'll say, till 8 o'clock tomorrow, or that's 24 hours. Sorry. You know what? Let's make it 24 hours. It'll be good till 8 p.m. Tomorrow. That's Sunday. Gosh, January 25th at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's when the coupon code will be good till. And thank you very much to everyone who caught the live. And I don't see any new comments. Jacob, send you. I'll send you a message. And thank you everyone for watching. Good night.